Welcome back. It is the Razzball Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I am Byron, joined by the one, the only, Gray Albright. How's it going over there, Gray?
Hey, man, what's going on? Just looking forward to Game 7. Know what I'm saying? What's going on? For people not watching on YouTube, I'm wearing my Indiana Pacers, but this is Indiana shirt that Cougs got me when she went to the finals game last week. So I walked around today all day wearing the Pacers shirt, and I found amusement no matter how many times someone said to me, "Oh man, sorry about the Pacers game last night." I'd be like, "No, whoa, it's on DVR. Don't say anything." No matter how many times, it still amused me. People would be like, man, if it wasn't for that Halliburton injury, I'd be like, what injury? I haven't watched yet. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I'm sure you did great. It must be nice not to care about other sports. I didn't even really care who won or lost, but that wasn't the way I wanted it to happen. But yeah, in more positive news, Gray, and somewhat related, I went from 5th to 1st in our CBS only auction league because Ronald Acuna Jr. is really good at baseball.
Yeah, I know. I usually don't look at my weekly stats for my NFBC teams. I just don't look. I mean, I have I have enough things to worry about that I just don't look at it. But I happened to I was looking to see if I should start. I forget who it was. I think it was I was looking to see if I should start Ryan O'Hearn or something, someone like that. And I was looking to see what guys did last week, and Acuna's stats are ridiculous, man. I mean, they're just ridiculous. I think he had I want to say he had 11 runs last week, and he hit over 400. It's just absurd that I saw that 11 runs, and I was like, what is that over the course of the season? What is that prorate out to 300 runs or something? He's so crazy. He's just, it's just amazing how much he can transform a fantasy team. That we were all in on Acuna in March, as anyone who listened to us in March could tell you. We were the high men on him. And outside of the steals have been lacking a little bit. I do feel like he's sort of he's done everything we could have possibly hoped for and more, right? I mean, he's still if you have a guy who is basically averaging 2 homers a week with 10 runs, some RBIs, and hitting 400. Even without the steals, that's still a top 12 player. It's where did you draft Vlad Jr. this year? It's not like Acuna's doing worse than that, right? I don't know, man. I just feel like people don't really appreciate Ronald Acuna Jr. and they actually do appreciate him. They just don't appreciate him enough, It's they appreciate him, but they don't appreciate him quite enough because he is so good. It's just ridiculous how well he can help your team. My team with Ronald Acuna Jr., it was 11 runs, by the way, and he hit 421. I opened the page while I was talking. Ronald Acuna Jr., the team I have him on, that team was really struggling. And I moved up 4 spots this week, just on the back, basically on the back of Acuna. I didn't have much else. I think actually I had Byron Buxton, who had a huge week. But yeah, it was Ronald Acuna Jr. is just so amazing, even without the steals. It's just, I love him. I love him so much.
What's crazy, Gray, is you read the stats, 421, a home run, 11 runs, like a couple of RBIs, and he was still 17th on the 7-day player rater. There was some crazy numbers put up last week, like Cal Raleigh, Buxton, Riley Green, Eugenio, CJ Abrams had him a week. Isaac Collins. We're going to talk about a few of these guys in a little bit, but it was just a week where, the weather got warm and the ball starting to fly a little bit.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, no, I want to say, oh man, I think I read on Twitter or somewhere that this past weekend there was more homers this past weekend than at any point at any weekend yet this season. I want to say, I think I read that. Don't hold me to it, but it was something like that where there was more homers this weekend than any other weekend this season. Cal Raleigh's on pace for a 65 homer, 20 steal season. What? I mean, if you drafted Cal Raleigh, your base, if you're not doing well in hitting, who else did you draft? What did you do wrong? Did you stop paying attention to your team? Like, is Alex Bregman still hitting? Is he still your third baseman? Have you stopped adjusting your lineup? Like, there's no way, if you have Cal Raleigh, there's no way you're not doing well in hitting. It's just, it's impossible because he was basically a free pick in every draft. Maybe in a 2-catcher league, he went, in the 150 range or something. But in a 1-catcher league, it was just basically I don't know. Do I want Francisco Alvarez or Cal Raleigh? I guess I'll take Cal Raleigh. Who cares?
Take the home runs. It's fine. I'll take some average later.
I'll find average elsewhere.
Yeah.
I'll find steals and average elsewhere. Maybe I'll get 25 homers. Who cares?
It's catcher.
Yeah, it's catcher. Who cares? That was basically your feelings on drafting Cal Raleigh. And he is basically, unless you have Aaron Judge or Ohtani, I mean, Cal Raleigh is even higher than Ohtani right now on the player rater. Cal Raleigh, it's basically it's Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh. This is basically it. That's it. If you needed power, though, imagine if you were I drafted Aaron Judge, so I feel pretty good on power. But you know what? I'll just take Cal Raleigh. I twist my arm. I'll just draft Cal Raleigh. Who cares? You're out in front in homers in your league by 60. You're coasting. Thank God. I'm in my NL only, my Tout Wars team that is in first place right now. Thank God it's an NL only because I don't have Aaron Judge or Cal Raleigh in any league. And it truly has hurt me. Unfortunately, the Aaron Judge thing was kind of it's so funny. It's Aaron Judge is basically, I don't have him in any league, but that is more of a because of the draft spot I had in most leagues. If I'm in a snake draft and I have the third pick, I wasn't taking Aaron Judge. I mean, honestly, I guess someone might have and someone could, but I wasn't. I was taking Ellie De La Cruz in every league, and he's been fine. Don't get me wrong. Ellie De La Cruz has been great, but I wasn't drafting Aaron Judge at the third pick. So it was either that or in an auction draft, I just was not drafting Aaron Judge. I wasn't spending the money for him. I would take that money and put it towards Ohtani or Ellie De La Cruz. But Cal Raleigh is another situation where I could have drafted him. I just didn't. There was no, I never felt there was any I looked at Cal Raleigh in drafts, to be totally honest, as just any other catcher. It was I joked before about Francisco Alvarez. It was oh, Cal Raleigh or Alvarez? I don't care. It doesn't matter. Just flip a coin. It was just a catcher. Who cares? Oh man, did I mess that up?
Yeah, I did have Judge third, and I think I have him in a grand total of 2 leagues, and one of them's an auction league where I just I just spent. Like, he was the third ranked player. But yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy year for Cal Raleigh. Him being the second player on the player rater is not what we thought was going to be in the cards. I mean, leading in home runs, that's pretty crazy. Only 4 players over $40 right now, and he's one of them, along with Judge, obviously, as you mentioned, Ohtani, and then of course PCA, which is just another way to say MVP.
That was another thing, like that's another thing. Like, sorry, not to interrupt, but it's like also when you have a situation where it's like, oh, I have like, I say you have the 5th pick in a draft and you're like, oh, whatever, I mean, I wish I got Bobby Witt or Ohtani or even Judge or even Ellie, it's like, oh, well, I got, you get who you get, and it's like, well, yeah, I mean, you do sort of get what you get, but in a lot of ways, your draft pick literally does not matter because, like, you could have had Cal Raleigh, you could have had P. Crow Armstrong, you could have later on, you could have had Hunter Brown, who's right now 7th on the player rater, you could have had Kyle Schwarber, you could have had Josh Hader, you could have had James Wood, you could have had Max Fried, you could have had Eugenio Suarez, you could have had Crochet, you could have had Zach Wheeler. I mean, or you could have had Carlos Rodon and Byron Buxton, Jeremy Pena. I just said the top 20 overall on the player rater. You could have had so many of those guys. Like, you could be number 1 in literally any league, no matter what your draft pick was. Like, okay, like maybe you couldn't have gotten Aaron Judge if you had like the 8th or 9th pick in the draft, and you ended up with like, oh, you got unlucky, and you ended up with Vlad Jr., who is, having an just okay season versus like a great season. But then in your 2nd pick, you could have had any of these guys I just mentioned, literally any of them. Like, you could have drafted a easy top 10 overall, like on NFBC, in the NFBC with any pick, or in an auction league, you could have had any of these guys. Like, it's just so funny that like in the beginning of the season or in draft season, you feel like you're so like, you're so resigned to which guys you end up with. And it's like, I guess, whatever. I ended up drafting, these guys because of my draft pick or, how things worked out in the auction. But it's like, at the end of the day, you could have had a bunch of these top 20 on the player rater guys for cheap. Forget even spending money. But if you really wanted to spend, you could have spent on any of these guys without breaking the bank. Like, you could literally have the best team ever if you wanted, but you didn't necessarily want all these guys for whatever reason.
I mean, you could have come out with Kyle Tucker and James Wood out of the first 2 rounds, pretty much across any drafts you wanted. And that would have worked out really well for your fantasy team as well. Now, Gray, if you didn't magically get Ronald Acuna Jr. back, who is single-handedly carrying you up the ranks by himself, how are you turning your season around? Are you looking for trades? Are you just being active? Are you potentially just cutting some names who aren't performing? What's your strategy?
I think at this point you have to sort of whittle down what exactly you need in a league. Like, if you need pitching, like, you should have some idea of what you need at this point. So if you need, power, then you try and like go for a guy who has power that maybe doesn't have, like, Aaron Judge is going to cost you a fortune, but like Eugenio Suarez may be a little bit more affordable because the person who has him may be like, well, I think I'm selling high or whatever, so, or even Schwarber, or like, guys who have, huge power numbers who aren't necessarily the same price tag as an Aaron Judge. Or, other guys who like look like, maybe someone thinks they're selling high on, say, a Suzuki, for instance, or Cal Raleigh, maybe someone thinks they're like, I'm getting out now. I got 30 plus, I got 31 homers. I mean, what more could I possibly want from Cal Raleigh? I'm going to trade him for, I'm going to have like this guy in my league wants Cal Raleigh, and he's willing to give me, I don't know, Hunter Brown, for instance. Like it just depends on what you need and what you have to trade. So I would be trying to look exactly at what exactly you need versus like just trying to win versus just trying to win a trade. Because at this point, who cares if you win the trade? Like that doesn't matter anymore. Like it doesn't matter if you're able, like, I got, Alex Bregman and Vlad Guerrero Jr. For Cal Raleigh and Taylor Ward. It's like, well, yeah, but you might have lost that. I mean, we'll see. We'll see when Bregman comes back, but it's like, just because these two guys were drafted higher or have better name value, it doesn't necessarily mean that's the side that's going to win. So I would try, it's risky to go for, buying high. That's always risky because it's like, oh, Cal Raleigh's hit 31 homers, but like, what if he only gets to 40 and you just bought high on him? It's like, yeah, but I mean, there's risk involved in everything. So, it's like, it kind of depends on what you need more than anything. Like if you need pitching, then you go for like, maybe you buy high on a pitcher. Like I said earlier, like Carlos Rodon he's in the top 20 overall. I mean, I don't necessarily think he's a top 20 overall player, but again, you need to take some risk, and maybe Carlos Rodon can hold it together and have a Cy Young type year. It wouldn't be the strangest thing that's happened. He's had great years in the past. Max Fried, another one who's in the top 20 overall. So yeah, I mean, maybe that's the way you go, or maybe you go for a buy low with like or maybe you go for like a rookie call-up like Mazeroski, for instance, or a Chase Burns, who we're going to talk about in a second, or maybe you do like a buy low and you're like, Will Warren. I don't know why I'm only talking about Yankee pitchers, but you know what I'm saying? Like it really is kind of like, it depends on what you have to trade and what you can acquire. It's really very league specific kind of thing and team specific for that matter. But pickup wise, it's not going to be easy. If you're just looking to pick up guys off of free agency, I mean, then you might have to just like go with hot hands to a certain extent. Like, like recently I picked up Max Kepler and he had a really good like 2 weeks, but now he's cooled off again. So I probably have to go and look at waivers and try and find someone else. But, trying to play the hot hand isn't necessarily the easiest way to go, but that also might be the avenue you have to take in certain leagues, depending on the league. Or like, I know like in NFBC leagues, there isn't even trades. So it's not even like you can trade. So yeah, I mean, it just depends. I think it's probably a mostly team specific question on how to move ahead. You can't necessarily just have Ronald Acuna Jr., start playing for your team, obviously.
Yeah, that's either happened or it hasn't, unfortunately. I think all those are good advice. Hit the player rater, honestly. Go to the 7 and the 30-day, sort by what you're looking for, go over to roster percentage, find whatever's appropriate for your league. That's going to help you identify who sticks out and who might be kind of maybe up and coming, somebody with good matchups coming up. All these things are good tools, as well as the projection system. So all of that will help you move forward. But I agree, kind of deal from a place of strength, deal from something that you think you're good at replacing, and fill those needs out. I know in our parts league, I have to find power just drastically somehow. My pitching is dominating the league, which is not exactly a great place to have a strong point in a RCL, unfortunately. But we'll leave that conversation for some other time. Let's talk some player-specific stuff for the listeners, Gray. Chase Burns called up by the Reds, number 7 on his prospect ranks. He has 42 innings in Double-A, where he is a 1.29 ERA, an 0.71 WHIP, 36.4% K rate, 2.6% walk rate. In AAA, he had 12 and a third innings. He gave up 3 earned, 4 walks, and 14 strikeouts. He's got a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, slider, occasional change, and a show-me curve, Gray. Number 7 on Itch's list means he's pretty special because Itch doesn't lightly rank pitchers in his prospect listings.
Yeah, no, not at all. I think in my post on Monday on Razzball, I wrote up Chase Burns, and I said, he could be what we've seen from Jacob Mizorowski, but with actual command. So that gives you an idea of how much I think Chase Burns could be, how good he could be. I don't see any real flaws in his game. With him and he's on the level of like Paul Skeens, Mizorowski, who I just mentioned, all the top rookie or at least young starters. We haven't seen it yet, so I don't want to necessarily say he's going to be Paul Skeens for this year, or what Paul Skeens did last year for this year, but he's capable of it. Chase Burns, that is. He could do it. His stuff is so nasty, and his command is right there. So I don't really see any flaws. Like, I would say he's a pickup for every single league, even the shallowest of leagues. I would say, like, if you saw what Mizorowski could do, I would say Burns is absolutely capable of the same sort of results. So act accordingly. I wouldn't be shocked to see him, out of $1,000 in FAB. I wouldn't be shocked to see him, possibly break $200-300 in $100 leagues. That's roughly $20 to $30. In one league of mine, he wasn't available yet in any of my leagues, but in one league where he was available, he went for $41 out of 100. So, that sort of gives you an idea of how much he's going to go for. I'm probably not going to be in on him because, I picked up Mizorowski in a few leagues. So I'm kind of already committed to him as my rookie pitcher. I'm not going to carry multiple rookie pitchers, but Chase Burns absolutely could be better than Mizorowski for sure. I think you mentioned Itch isn't usually very high on rookie pitchers, and I agree with Itch within that respect, because rookie pitchers can really kill you just because Chase Burns is supposed to be good. Now that I've said how great Chase Burns could be, with all that said, he could be terrible as well. Things happen. It's rookies in general, like we saw with Christian Campbell. We've seen a bunch. I'm not going to go through all the list, but we've seen a bunch of rookie, hitters and pitchers flame out early and then come back and be much better. So Chase Burns could potentially not be good. He could, come up and just struggle a bit. I doubt it, because he's really polished for a rookie. He's he went through college when I would say he's got a ton of innings on his arm already. Not too many where it's a concern, but he's got he could throw a bunch of innings. He's already topped, I think he topped 100 innings. No, he had 100 innings his last year at Wake. But I could see him potentially maybe throwing another 60 innings. He's at 66 in the minors, so maybe another 60 innings. So cutting him off at 120, and it could be an excellent 60 innings, ace type 60 innings. So I would pick him up everywhere. I haven't, and I won't personally, but that's only because I have Mizorowski and I don't want to spend the money on Chase Burns. But I do feel like he could be like one of the last big difference makers for fantasy baseball. So yeah, I would grab him.
Yeah, I think you grab him everywhere. Even though you said you don't really go with multiple rookie pitchers, I will absolutely grab multiple rookie pitchers just because in regards to what you're able to grab off free agency, it's the highest upside potential unless somebody just randomly drops, a top 20 starting pitcher for the rest of season in your lap. I have no problem grabbing out multiple ones if you still have the fab remaining or if you have the waiver priority. This is kind of what I feel like you saved it for. If you haven't got enough players at this point, or you've been kind of saving it for this big call up, miss out on Mizrachi, or even if you got him, spend the rest, go ahead and grab Burns and kind of play it out the rest of the season. I mean, there's a few more interesting call-ups out there, Bubba Chandler, but he's been a little bit roughed up recently, like Basalo and Brady House, who was already called up. So, like, I don't know who else you're waiting on to spend if it's not Chase Burns.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree.
If you miss out on Chase Burns, you could potentially look at Didier Fuentes. The numbers in the minors aren't spectacular. 21 and 2/3 innings in Double-A with a 4.98 ERA, 1.29 WHIP, 25% strikeout rate, 7.3% walk rate. 4 and 2/3 in Triple-A. He had 1 earned run, 6 strikeouts, and no walks in his only start there. And then he had 5 innings, 4 earned, 3 strikeouts, and 1 walk in his first start in the majors. It's not really one I would usually talk about. He's not really highly touted, but it's he's high for the Braves at least. And also he looked pretty good in his start, Gray. Minus the 3-run home run, 20-year-old with a just dominant fastball slider combination here. What are your thoughts on Fuentes? I mean, would you look at potentially grabbing him, or is this more of a wait and see?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the league, but I didn't he was available for me in my leagues, and I didn't even bid on him. He seems like he could be fine for 15-team mixed leagues and deeper. I worry a little bit about his homers allowed looks a little bit iffy, and he gives up. He doesn't keep the ball down at all. He gives up a ton of fly balls. So I worry about the homers. I think maybe he's good for deeper leagues for streaming, but I don't know if really like a 12-team mixed league or shallower. I can't imagine anyone's really going to be going in on him unless there's a good matchup, or unless he starts looking like so good that you're going to get in on him like down the road maybe. But as of right now, maybe in a 15-team mixed league, if you're struggling for starters, I could see it. But I haven't really been. I mean, he's super young. Don't get me wrong. Like this is not the end all on Didier Fuentes. I could potentially like him next year or the year after, maybe. I mean, he's only 20 years old. He's so young. So I don't necessarily like him right now for most mixed leagues, but yeah, I mean, maybe if he gets hot, or if it's like, potentially he gets a good matchup and it looks like decent on paper, maybe give him a shot. And for mixed leagues, that is. For NL only, obviously, you pick up anyone. But even in NL only, I don't have the number in front of me, but I want to say in my NL only leagues, he went for like $1 out of 100 and maybe like 20 out of 1,000. Like he didn't go for a lot. So I don't know. I don't sense there's a ton of people clamoring for him. And I personally am not either. So yeah, I mean, maybe we'll see, but he's so young that I'm not writing him off for, the future potentially. But for right now, I'm like,
Yeah, put him on the watch list if you don't have to grab him. If it's a 12-team or short, shallow, like you said, 15, maybe you could take a look if you're just needing something. But there's probably not a lot here at the moment. But a 20-year-old making an MLB debut, deserves to be discussed. And, we talked about him. I will say the one thing that I'll give to his favor, his home run to fly ball this year is 5.1% across the minors. I mean, that's good. He has struggled with it in previous stops, but again, he's 20 years old. So an 18-year-old struggling with a home run issue and A ball is a little bit, different than somebody who's had a home run issue their whole career and they've been in the minors for 7 years or something.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, no, yeah. We'll see what happens. I'm not writing him off. I'm not even saying like in the future he may not even have a homer problem, a homer allowed problem. It's just right now it looks like maybe with a lot of the fly balls potentially, but it's hard to get a read on a 20-year-old. We'll see. Maybe he becomes great by next year, but right now I'm sort of wait and see on him.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Let's move on to somebody who I don't think is a wait and see, and that is Chandler Simpson. He is coming back. Cameron Misner is sent down because he can't hit the ball. Chandler Simpson was down for 33 games. He had 19 stolen bases, hit 333, 370, 396. In his 35 games in the majors, he had 19 stolen bases and hit 285, 315, 317. I don't think it's on the offensive side that they say he sent him down for. He's gonna do what he did, right? Just steal a bunch of bases and hit for average. Do you think he's gonna continue to do that? I guess that's the biggest question.
Yeah, no, I when this is one of the few things when like a lot of guys get called up and I kind of shrug a little bit, but this was one where I heard he got called up and I immediately tried to go on to Fantrax and see if I could pick him up. Like, I mean, he's a one category filler, right? I mean, I'm not expecting a ton else. Maybe he'll hit for a decent average, but the steals alone, I mean, who doesn't want steals? I would have grabbed Chandler Simpson in a second if he were still on waivers. Unfortunately, I think Marmol's picked him up in front of me. So yeah, or maybe he had him this whole time. Maybe he had him stashed. I don't know. But I was definitely looking to pick him up. I love Chandler Simpson for the steals. Absolutely. It's actually kind of funny that like when he got sent down, there is a lot of hullabaloo, people talking about how like, oh, he got sent down is for his defense, which I mean, maybe, I guess, I don't know. But did he suddenly learn how to play defense? It's like ridiculous. I mean, it's a ridiculous thing to be like, yeah, he got sent down for his defense. But then, 3 weeks later, that's all fixed. Like he didn't learn defense for the last 6 years of his professional career. But you know what? In the 18 days he was in the minors, he's out. He's totally fine now. Okay, I'm sure. Like Cameron Misner, who got sent down to make room for Simpson, Cameron Misner is like one of the top defensive outfielders in the league, and everyone was like, well, yeah, he got Cameron Misner was held on to by the Rays because his defense is so good, and Simpson's got to go learn defense. Like, I don't know. I mean, maybe he learned how to hit the cutoff man. I don't know. It's ridiculous to say like, oh, he learned defense now. Like, no, he didn't. He's still going to be terrible. I don't care personally. I'm not a Rays fan, and I don't care if he can play defense as long as he gets the at-bats in order to steal bases. That's all I care about. But I'm just saying, he didn't learn defense. There's no way he learned defense in 3 weeks. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe.
I mean, maybe he just needs to pull like I don't know, like a Griffey or an Ankiel and just play like at the warning track and just chase everything down. I mean, he's more than fast enough. Why does he just chase everything down? How is this difficult to get somebody that fast to be?
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah, exactly. It's like you're fast. It's like just stand at the fence and run in. I don't know, man. No, I mean, I'm especially sensitive to this topic because, like, when he got sent down, there was a bunch of people being like, see, like, real baseball isn't like fantasy baseball. See, the Rays need a guy who can actually play defense. Like, yeah, okay, man, sure. Sure, he's learning. I'm sure he's learning.
It's that and not the clock. That's definitely what's going on.
It's got nothing to do with the arbitration, nothing to do with the clock. No. It's nothing to do with the Rays being cheap. No, he's learning how to play defense. Okay, sure, man. Sure. Yeah. After 6 years of being in the minors, not learning anything, he's like, you know what? Now I'm gonna learn defense. Okay.
Okay. We're gonna have a different coach down there than the one we had for the last 2 years. It's it's a fun game that the Rays play with their minor leaguers. That's always interesting. Anyways, Gray, let's talk about another minor leaguer that we got really excited about on his call up, and that is Roman Anthony, who is just kind of falling off a little bit here.
The fall of the Roman Empire fall. The fall of the Roman Empire, right?
It's happened, Gray. I mean, I have him in a lot of leagues because I thought he was going to crack the opening day lineup. 12 games, he has 4 hits, 1 home run, 1 stolen base, 24.4% strikeout rate, 17.8% walk rate. I mean, that sounds solid, but when you look at the average and it's a 1, that's 111 is hard to swallow even in a small sample size. I know people are freaking out. They spent their whole fab on him. They've been rostering him this whole season. Are you going to calm the people down, or are you going to just melt them down completely?
melt them down like a freaking nickel. You know what? I mean, I would say he hasn't even, what has he had? 1, 2, 3. He's had 6 games, 4. Okay, he's had 4 games at home where he's started. He's had 6 total games. 2 of those he didn't start. So, I mean, he's had 4 games total in Fenway. It's so early still. I don't know if Fenway is going to be all the answers for him, but it's such a great park that, like, you gotta give him at least a chance here. I think the Red Sox realize that as well. Like, you look at Christian Campbell, who I mentioned earlier, he got a good 6 weeks of failing before they sent him down again. So I would be pretty confident that the Red Sox are going to do the right thing here and give Roman Anthony at least a month plus of struggling, which is fine. I mean, that's normal. And I don't know if he will struggle for a month plus. I would doubt it. I wouldn't put money on him struggling. I think he'll come out of it. I think he'll be totally fine. I think it's just a matter of just a small sample size right now, and being on the road in terrible parks. San Francisco and Seattle, bad parks. Then he was home. And he was getting benched the last 2 games he was at home. So he hasn't really even had a real legitimate shot of just being at home, getting comfortable, and hitting the crap out of the ball. So I'm not really concerned yet. If it's a shallow enough league where you can maneuver him on your bench for a little bit while he figures things out and start someone else, that's fine. I don't think you should drop him yet, though. I think you should hold on to him in every league, even the shallowest of leagues. I would hold on to him to see if he can come out of it. It's too early to drop him.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, the numbers still look good, and it looks like he's getting unlucky. There's a 125 BABIP, so that's terribly unlucky. He's hitting the ball hard. He has a 91.5 average exit velocity, 44% hard hit. So, he's hitting the ball fine. It's just he's not finding any gaps right now. And as you said, didn't play in the most favorable parks to start his career in the majors. So hold on to him. I guess let's talk about kind of where he might fit in, Gray, I mean, would you take? There's 3 outfielders who have been just scorching hot lately. In that, let's talk about whether you take them or Roman Anthony. And let's just say to start, let's say that you have the roster space, that you have all these guys. So we're not necessarily cutting Roman Anthony, but for these guys, would you rather start Roman Anthony or Mickey Moniak?
Okay. I would start Mickey Moniak and bench Roman Anthony.
Okay. Isaac Collins, who, what are your thoughts on Isaac Collins? We'll talk about these 3 in a little bit more depth here in a second.
Yeah, I would start Isaac Collins and bench Roman Anthony. I would probably do that for most guys who are hitting well. I would probably bench Roman Anthony.
Okay, so Wenceel Perez was the 3rd one on the good side. On the bad side recently, Adolis Garcia or Roman Anthony?
I think it's in shallower leagues. I think it's time to move on from Adolis Garcia. I think we had some good laughs. We had a lot of fun for the last couple of years, but I don't think that's working anymore. I'd move on, man. If you have Adolis Garcia in like a 12-team mixed league or shallower, I think you got to look elsewhere. But with that said, I would start Roman Anthony over Adolis Garcia.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that he hit for a better average here in June, but no power, no speed. That's not the Adolis Garcia that we loved a few years ago. This is a different guy. How about Lou Bob, Luis Robert Jr.?
I would probably start Lou Bob over Roman Anthony for the time being.
Okay, and Jordan Beck.
Yeah, I'd probably start Jordan Beck over Roman Anthony for the time being. Especially, I know because I was just setting my lineup before we got on this show. I know they're going to be home for some games. I think half the week they're at home. So Jordan Beck, especially in cores, I would start Jordan Beck. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm starting Lou Bob, but I agree on Jordan Beck. Lou Bob's been so bad, Gray. He has not hit over 200 for a month this season. Like that's terrible. I don't even know how he has 12 steals in a month when you hit 170. Like that's impressive. He had 17 hits in April.
He must have Aaron Savalier showed up in the White Sox clubhouse, and he was like, all you had to do was ask to be traded. Lou Bob must have been like, I've been asking to be traded for years, man. I went off of this sinking ship for so long, and I'm still here. Why can't I get traded?
At this point, who knows?
I will say Lou Bob is like, that's going back to the preseason where I was like, do not draft Lou Bob. I had him ranked probably a good 70 picks after everyone else. I was really shocked at people who are still drafting Lou Bob. It was mind-boggling to me. I didn't want any part of him. I still don't. I wouldn't buy him low. I could see potentially dropping him in some leagues, but over Roman Anthony right now, yeah, probably. I mean, this is like 6 of one, a half a dozen of another. Neither of them have been very good of late. And that's and like we said earlier, don't drop Roman Anthony. This is just to start guys over him.
Yes, yeah, we were saying you're not dropping, but we just wanted to show some good hitters right now and some not so good hitters on the opposite ends of the percentage list, right? And that's what we did, Gray. But let's talk about those outfielders who were top 30 outfielders on the Player Rater for less than 50% owned. Mickey Moniak, Isaac Collins, and Wenceel Perez. Let's talk about them in general. I'm have you rank them eventually, but what are your thoughts on these guys? Are they worth rostering permanently?
Yeah, I mean, I think with Isaac Collins, he's actually been pretty interesting. I I feel like I need to take a deeper dive into him. But I like what I see with Isaac Collins a lot. I think he's got more power and more speed than I think people are realizing. Maybe there's a chance maybe he's a quad A player. That could be because he is 27. So he was in the minors for a long time. So maybe this is like one of those quad A type deals where like the guy comes up and he's quad A and he hits well when he first comes up and then just disappears. Like I'm thinking of like a Joey Menendez from the Nationals. He's like my poster child for that. So yeah, but I do think Isaac Collins is worth rostering right now. I'm kind of I like what I see in his numbers. Mickey Moniak I think is who he is. And just happens to be a hot bat that happens to be on the Rockies. And, Coors is good. Moniak has been hot. So I don't think there's much there outside of that. And Wenceel Perez, I mean, his StatCast actually looks pretty good. I didn't think much of Wenceel Perez when he was first brought up to me in the comments, but I do think there might be something there, at least for – definitely a hot bat, that's for sure. But maybe even beyond that. Again, he's older, so he might also be another quad A Isaac Collins type. So I'm not 100% convinced Wenceel Perez won't just fade into the distance, but I would grab him for right now for sure. I don't know if it's going to last though. I wouldn't be willing to put my money on that with Wenceel Perez, but his numbers do look good. I mean, great contact. Has power. He actually had speed in the minors. He's hitting for a decent average right now without a ton of luck. I mean, the BABIP's only 300. So yeah, I don't know. He looks pretty good.
Yeah, and he's kind of the youngest era of player, or I guess the oldest era now of player left from the COVID year. Kind of messed up the development because he was 19 at the time they took the COVID year. So he was right in the middle of development and then had to repeat the same year same level the next year. And it's just kind of like, he's 25 making his debut, but he really could have been 24. And he was last year. I mean, he was 24 when he made his debut last year. So it could have even been 23, in which case he's early to the majors, even as an 18-year-old, or 17-year-old. So I actually like Wenceel Perez the most out of this group. I would say Isaac Collins is third, but it's interesting enough. And really, if I have to start them every day, I think I would go Collins over Moniak because I still only feel comfortable with Moniak at home. So I can only start him 50% of the time. And I don't really want to have to do that unless it's an absolute priority. And I don't know that Mickey Moniak can continue to be this good, but he was the number one outfielder of less than 70% owned the last 30 days. So I maybe I'm wrong, it could be possible. I've been wrong before, Gray. Is that your same order or what's your thought in regards to the rank of those three?
I think they're all probably pretty close. I would agree with you with Moniak is ideally he's Coors only. With that said, I've been starting him everywhere because he has been hot. But he is ideally Coors only. So that's matchups. I would actually probably go Collins, then Wenceel, then Moniak. But it's a very fluid situation because they're all sort of the same diff while also being very hot right now.
Yeah. So you would roster all of them right now, right? I mean, obviously.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Are any of them ones that you're like, if somebody gets called up, you're not letting them go? So if Basillo's the last big bat coming up.
No, I'd be fine dropping any of them at a moment's notice.
Okay. That's what we needed to know. Jack Flaherty is just faltering all over the place, Gray. His first 13 starts, Gray. He went 71 in a third innings, 3.41 ERA, 107 whip, 29.7% strikeout rate, 8% walk rate. Thought the pick was just stealing from the draft room. In the last 2 starts, 7 innings, 15 earned, 19.29 ERA, a 2.71 whip, 19.5% strikeout rate, 19.5% walk rate. Is Jack Flaherty just done randomly overnight, or what's going on, Gray? You obviously have to sit him down. You can't let him throw another one of those for you. But are you panicking?
Yeah, a little bit, but I think looking at his numbers, to me, it seems very clear. The problem is his command is a mess, and due to the command being bad, he's leaving the ball out over the plate, allowing for a lot more homers, and the homers are killing him. So I think it's fixable. I think he could be fine at any moment. He could be fine, depending on. I'm guessing it's a mechanics issue with him. Even though the velocity is down, so the numbers don't look good. Absolutely, there is issues there, but I do think it's probably fixable as long as he is healthy. I'd be worried for sure. I don't think there's a chance you should start him unless it's a deep league. Like if it's AL only, then you do what you have to do. But I think in most mixed leagues, you should probably put him on your bench and see what happens. I think it looks like there's an issue with the mechanics would be my guess. I think there's probably, his strikeouts are okay. They're good enough where, they're as, at least they're as in line with his previous year and when he was great. It's just his walks have just almost doubled. So that seems to be the issue. So if there's no commands, he's not able to locate his pitches, and he's throwing meatballs. So even if he does have nasty stuff, if you're throwing meatballs, you're going to get hit. So yeah, I think it's fixable, but I would probably bench him for, until we saw a decent start at least.
Yeah, I think you have to bench him until we see one, if not two. This feels like there's either an injury or he's tipping his pitches, like one of the two. Would you rather have Flaherty this week at home for the Athletics or his opponent, Jeffrey Springs?
No, I would go Springs. Yeah. And I don't really love Springs, but I would go Springs over Flaherty for right now.
Yeah, I would too. And Springs is much better away from Sacramento as well. How about Brady Singer versus the Yankees?
No, I wouldn't mess with it. And honestly, I don't think we mentioned it, but it's probably, by the time people listen to this, it might be a moot point, but I wouldn't mess with Chase Burns against the Yankees either. I wouldn't mess with Brady Singer against the Yankees. It's not worth it to me to have that blow up. Avoid the blow up if you can. So yeah, I would avoid Brady Singer against the Yankees.
Yeah, I'm not terrified of the Yankees. In June, they are the 23rd off most runs scored. That's not terrifying. I know Aaron Judge is terrifying, obviously, but the Yankees as a whole aren't that bad, especially away from Yankee Stadium. Granted, Cincinnati might be equivalent in many ways, so that one I'd probably go Singer just because, again, I'm not starting Flaherty. How about also kind of struggling Luis Castillo at Minnesota?
I go Luis Castillo.
Yeah, I think so. I think at least he's struggling, but it's not in a blow-up way. It's just in he's not really had a clean outing in a while type of way. Yeah, but for now, I think you just avoid Flaherty. I would agree we're not dropping him, though.
Right.
Great. It only took a decade, but has Byron Buxton finally arrived? The numbers are great on the season, Gray. He is number 6 in the outfield, number 19 overall on the player rater. I mean, it feels like we should have talked about him before now, but I just assumed he was going to spike himself and kind of render that moot.
I think if we mention his name one more time, like Beetlejuice, he will end up hurting himself. We gotta worry about his quads. You know what I'm saying? His hammies could go at any moment after we mention his name. Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's just been like he's the guy who you look at as like so much talent. I mean, I'm not saying anything new here. I mean, it's so much talent. It was just a matter of staying healthy. But I mean, do we really trust him staying healthy even at this moment right now? I would, if you could sell Byron Buxton off of, his top 20 overall on the player rater and, someone believing that this is the year finally he holds it together, I would sell that immediately. I mean, I have Byron Buxton in one league. The league has no trades, so I am pot committed, and I am not. And I'm, it's like I have him as long as he's on the field. I'll be starting him, but I still don't trust him. I don't know how anyone could trust him, really. I mean, he's been, in the league since 2015, and he's had 1 year, 2 years, 1 year over 103 games played, 2 years over 100 games played. Last year at 102 games played was his second longest. It was his second most games played in the season. It's like ridiculous. I mean, so it's like I like what I'm getting from him. I really would be shocked if he has more than 100 and I don't know. I mean, he's at 60 games right now. I would probably put the over under at 60 games for the rest of the season. So if you got 120 games though, I mean, that's great. I'll absolutely take 120 games from him, especially if it's this good of 120 games. So yeah, I'm fine with it right now, but I think at the end of the day, it's really a matter of whether or not he's going to be able to stay on the field. And you just can't trust him to stay on the field. I'm sorry. Unfortunately, you can't.
Yeah, that makes it a really, really difficult when you're thinking trade-wise, too, because it's like at some point you'd rather just hold and just say, well, if he gets injured, he gets injured. If not, I'm just going to take the random 31-year-old Magic Byron Buxton season. But would you rather have Buxton or Kerry Carpenter, who has been solid, very solid in his own right?
Yeah, I would take Buxton because Kerry Carpenter isn't exactly the bill of good health, and he also, I mean, he platoons out against lefties, which is probably for the best, but still, I mean, he doesn't face lefties, so you have that, and Buxton also has he's a 5-tool player if he's healthy, and he's currently doing that. So yeah, I would take Buxton over Carpenter.
Okay, let's move up the list a little bit here then. Would you rather have Buxton or, I keep asking about him, but he just kind of fits in this area, Jordan Beck?
Oh, absolutely. Buxton for sure.
Okay. Wyatt Langford?
Oh, I would take Langford.
Okay. I was just wondering, he's also been a little injury prone.
Mm-hmm.
He struggled in May when he was probably injured and playing through it. He's not been phenomenal since returning. He's been fine.
Yeah. No, it's a fair question. I mean, right now on the player rater, Wyatt Langford's at 120 overall. So it's not like he's tearing the cover off the ball. I mean, he is essentially he's been about as valuable as Gavin Sheets according to the player rater. So it's okay. I mean, that's not great, but I would take Wyatt Langford just for upside and potential.
Yeah, I mean, the upside's crazy. He's got basically same upside as Buxton does at that point, right?
Right.
How about less upside, more consistency? Ian Happ.
I would go Ian Happ because Ian Happ's underrated. He's been solid. He's been a solid number 2 to 3 outfielder now for a couple of years. I would take Ian Happ.
Yeah, he's just one of those guys that falls in every draft, and just you can grab him up. Yeah, okay. So I think we found a good area for Buxton where the values, for looking for trade. Obviously, start higher than that if you can, but if you have to settle in that area, we're both fine with those guys. Let's SAGNOF it up, Gray. Greg Weissert, is he splitting closer duties in Boston, or is this just circumstance?
No, I believe it was circumstance. Last I heard, I think Cora said that he was resting Aroldis and he was fine. So I think it was circumstance. I think he's been good though, Greg Weissert, but yeah, no, Aroldis is still the closer there.
Yeah, I have Aroldis as a closer in the Perts League and went ahead and grabbed Weissert just in case. And also, as you said, Weisert's been very good on his own. Is Seth Holverson the first legitimate closer the Rockies have had since Houston, Street, or Brian Fuentes, Gray?
Houston.
I don't even know if those two are legitimate, but they were the most legitimate closers I could find in Rockies history. That's no joke. Literally looked at every closer in Rockies history. Those were the two best.
What about it? Wasn't there a Holland guy or something? Greg Holland? Wasn't he a Rockies closer at one point?
He might have been at one point. I mean, actually for the Rockies, though. I mean, he was good when he left the Rockies. That doesn't count. You have to be good in Colorado.
Yeah, that's fair. I was also wasn't it? What was there was a guy like actually a friend of Cougs's family, Daniel Bard, I believe, was a closer.
Yep, he was closer. He might be. He's on this list actually.
He's I think he's friends with Cougs's brother. I don't know.
He might statistically actually be the best of the closers.
Okay. Anyway, Halverson looks like the closer for the Rockies. He's been decent. I kind of wish I grabbed him, like 2 weeks ago when the Rockies started winning games. But prior to that, I didn't really want to have anything to do with the Rockies closer. And now that he's already done it, now I'm kind of scared about getting in now because I feel like he's going to blow up at some point. Halverson, that is. So, Halverson seems to be the closer. I don't trust him, though, really.
Yeah, so this is what I did, Gray, in our Perts League. I went ahead and picked him up, but he starts the week versus the Dodgers, and I'm not doing that. So he's going to sit for this first series, but I'm going to go ahead and hold him and see how this goes. That's where I'm at on Seth Halverson.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. That's always the thing. It's like, that's why I don't even like put in bids on some of these guys in like an NFBC leagues. I'll win a guy like Halverson, and then I start looking at my lineup and I'm like, I don't really want to start him.
Oh, he's not going to start. Yeah. That is the problem with that specifically, especially any Colorado's player. But yeah, I mean, I do believe he is the closer, and he's been solid. As you said, so
right.
Camilo Duvall gets a save versus Boston on Saturday, even though he gave up 2 earned runs. Any concern here that he's losing his position?
Randy Rodriguez has been good, but I think Duvall's still the closer, at least for now. I would be concerned, though, about Duvall holding on to the job. Absolutely. I mean, if he keeps giving up runs, I think he's not a safe closer by any stretch of the imagination. I think he could lose the job. Do I think he has the job right now? Yes. For right this second, he has the job.
Yes, I would agree for right now it is him. But I think literally the entire Giants bullpen has been better than him. So it could happen at any point that somebody else could be coming for it. You mentioned Rodriguez. I think Tyler Rogers would also potentially, be in that mix as well. He's been absolutely great. But they may just want to keep him in his current role. I don't know. The Braves, Gray, they've gone more than 30 days without a save. There's nothing really to do here. I just kind of wanted to mention it.
Wow.
Don't roster Braves relievers if you want saves.
Wow, I didn't realize it. 30 days without a save. That's really terrible.
Yeah, they have either been blowing teams out or losing close games. There has been no in between.
Wow. Yeah. Actually, in the 30 days of them not having a save, Raciel Iglesias seems like he's sort of settled down a little bit, I think. I want to say. Still could be terrible. Don't get me wrong, but he has. I mean, it has been like 4 straight outings now where he hasn't given up a run. So yeah, I mean, it's something.
No, I would agree. If you're in a very deep league and only where everything's rostered, I absolutely think Raisel Iglesias is now back in the mix. Whereas before, I think we decided it was probably Dylan Lee if it came up. But as I mentioned, it's been more than 30 days now where that has not even been an option. So let's move over to Philadelphia, the other cursed closer city. Orion Kerkering and Matt Strum have both gotten saves, Gray. It seems like they've made a change, but we don't really know necessarily who it is. Which one would you prioritize, or is this Philly's way of not having one of them get cursed and that they're just going to alternate closing opportunities?
Well, I will say with Kerkering and Strom, one's a righty and one's a lefty. Strom's the lefty. So, that in my head at least makes a little bit more sense as to matchups. If it's a heavy lefty ninth, yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. Like, that isn't completely insane to do that. And Strom's been fine. I mean, he hasn't been as bad as like Romano, or, I think Strom's been pretty decent. So yeah, I would say Kerkering for like 60-40 with Kerkering Strom split, but both have been decent enough to roster, at least for now. We'll see. I mean, I don't think they're going to keep the job. I think someone's coming in at the trading deadline to become the closer. Is probably what's going to happen.
To get cursed in the Philadelphia closer role, yeah.
I
think they're probably doing that.
Yeah, for sure. Calvin Foucher or someone from the Marlins someone is absolutely going in and going to be terrible as the closer for the Phillies. Yeah, awful. Like, just awful. Like, the worst guy you can even someone who's good is going to become terrible. Like, Aroldis Chapman is going to get traded to the Phillies and become an awful version of Aroldis Chapman. He's just going to be terrible. But they'll do it. They'll trade for someone.
Yeah, Edwin Uceta, who's been nothing but good in his whole career, would go there and just be awful. Just terrible.
Awful.
Dodgerland Gray. Same thing as last week. Like, Scott's the fireman, Vesia Yates, Kopech might randomly get stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think so.
All right. Give the people some waivers. I'll give them streaming options, and we'll get out of here.
Okay, cool. So we mentioned these guys earlier, but they are at the top of the 7-day player rater. That's Mickey Moniak, Isaac Collins, Wenceel Perez. Also up there is Mauricio Dubon, who has position eligibility up the wazoo and has been hitting. Alec Burleson, guy who I really liked in the preseason, has finally started hitting. Donovan Solano had a 2-homer game the other day. Dominic Canzone had a 2-homer game the other day. I don't know if that means anything, but they did have 2-homer games. Nathaniel Lowe has been really hot. First baseman over with the Nationals. Jake Myers for outfielder, Astros outfielder. He's been hot. He stole a couple bags the other day. Has hit has hit well. He's hitting .429 over the last week. Michael Toglia got called up by the Rockies and it suddenly looks like the guy who we thought he was going to be in March. Had a couple homers on the road. I don't know how long that's going to last because he's still striking out way too much. So we'll see, but worth grabbing to see how long it lasts. Javier Baez was hot again this week. Nolan Chanel, very hot. Cam Smith looks like maybe the breakout is happening late. I don't know. We'll see. But he had a couple homers this past week and hit 350. Spencer Steer also finally maybe something. I don't know. Possibly. And then finally, Casey Schmidt. Tyler Fitzgerald was sent down by the Giants. That means that when Chapman returns, Schmidt's going to move over to second base, and he has been hitting. So, yeah, there's some guys for you.
Yeah, poor Tyler Fitzgerald. Last year was a good run. I hope he enjoyed that. Moving over to the streaming side, Jansen Junk at San Francisco. He's going to get some runs starting for Miami, it seems like, and I would grab him because he's been great in the bullpen in long innings, and now he's getting a chance to start. So I would absolutely look at him. Charlie Morton versus Texas. Eric Lauer gets at Cleveland and at Boston. Jose Soriano versus Washington. Jeffrey Springs at Detroit. Zach Littell at Baltimore. Ryan Burgay versus Washington. Logan Allen versus Toronto and versus St. Louis. And Eduardo Rodriguez gets at the White Sox and versus Miami. And if you can't manufacture some good pitching versus those two, they should just cut him, honestly. Arizona should just cut him if he just goes out. He's been terrible. So if you can't get through the White Sox in Miami this week, Eduardo Rodriguez, you may find yourself on waivers. Not just in fantasy, but in real life. That may be happening. If you have specific questions, you can always find us on Twitter. I am at RazBdon. Gray is the owner of the Razzball account. You can find us on the comment section on razzball.com or on youtube.com/Razzball Fantasy. Subscribe to us, rate, review wherever you listen to us, whether that's iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, etc., etc., etc. Hopefully you make all the right lineup choices. You don't miss out on this week's Isaac Collins. And I'll talk to you next week, Gray.
All right, Lades.